One thing a lot of beginner photographers make is they think they need like 10 crazy lenses to cover all different types of situations. That's not true. If you understand focal lengths and composition, you can really cover almost any situation with 3 lenses. So hear me out. And in this video today, I'm not gonna tell you you need this specific lens, but rather I'm gonna show you the different focal lengths and types of lenses that you should consider buying. Because the truth is, there's a lot of good options at every budget point. Yes, you can spend a lot of money and get some of the highest quality glass out there, but you can also spend a lot less money if you're on a budget and still get really good quality lenses. So today I'm gonna show you why you need A, wide angle lens, B, a prime lens, and C, a zoom lens. And I'll also give you some cheaper to more expensive options along the way. So let's go. Number 1 is going to be a wide angle lens. So there are a ton of different wide angle lenses out there, but wide angle lenses are great for capturing big landscapes, astrophotography, a lot of street photography, so like architecture, real estate photography. There's a ton of different uses for them, but having a good wide angle lens is great for when there's a photo you want to grab, but you can't move back far enough. You know, you want a really dramatic and wide angle to be able to capture a lot of the scene in that photo. And by wide angle, I mean, you know, maybe 10 millimeters to 24 millimeters on a crop sensor, or something like 16 to 35 on a full frame sensor, something in that general range. There's not like one set millimeter for what's considered wide, at least in my opinion, but something in that general range would be good to have. So having a good wide angle lens for those situations is definitely something you're gonna want. I shoot a lot of landscape photography, so for me, a wide angle is almost the lens I use the most. It's definitely one of my dailies, one of my go-tos, but there's a ton of different options out there. So in terms of lenses you can buy, these are all gonna be Canon lenses, but the focal lengths across brands are all gonna be pretty similar. You can find something in that range 100%. I'm gonna talk Canon because I shoot Canon. So if you can afford a 16 to 35, that's awesome. That's great for you. Definitely check those lenses out because they're great, or even a 15 to 35 2.8. Incredible lens. They're very expensive though, so if that's not in your budget range, you can pick up the 10 to 18 that Canon has. Great beginner lens. You can also pick up one that I actually own. This was my go-to wide angle lens, is the 18 to 55 kit lens. Really, really affordable lens. It's not expensive at all. Obviously, you're maybe not getting the same quality as one of those $2,000 lenses, but if you're kind of just getting into it, this is a really great place to start. This is a great wide angle lens that can help you kind of practice and get used to it, and then you can upgrade in the future if you want. On my Canon R8, I currently have the 35 millimeter prime lens, RF. This is my go-to daily lens, and I'd still consider it kind of a wide angle lens. It's on the edge, but it's kind of a wide angle. So definitely consider a wide angle lens. So next is gonna be a prime lens. So a prime lens means it's set at one focal length. So this one is 50 millimeters. You can't zoom in, you can't zoom out, it's 50 millimeters. All you can do is position your body so you can walk closer, walk further, change the composition. That's the only way you're gonna change the photo. So why I think every photographer should own a prime lens is because it really, really teaches you how to kind of compose photos by yourself. You have no choice. You can't just zoom in and zoom out. You have to find different angles. You have to see how getting closer affects your depth of field, things like that. It's really such a good tool to have. And typically they're not only a little bit less expensive, but they're also way better in low light, and they have a lower aperture. So, you know, the Nifty 50, this is a really cheap lens. This goes all the way down to f1.8. This is one of the best portrait lenses, or even you can kind of do macro with this kind of lens. This is one of the best lenses in the game. This is the classic Nifty 50. So you have an EF version for DSLRs. If you're on the older cameras, there's also an RF version for the mirrorless cameras. This, as I mentioned before, my daily 35 millimeter is also a prime lens. It's stuck at 35, you can't change it. So another great lens. This is the RF. It's actually quite affordable as well, but having a prime lens is such a game changer. It's such a good everyday lens. You can get really good depth of field, really good low light, and it teaches you such valuable skills in photography. Definitely recommend having at least one prime lens for your everyday use. And lens number 3 today is gonna be a zoom lens. Just gonna pause for a second. It's Kevin from the future here. In this next part, I say zoom lens a lot. That's just kind of the language I grew up using. By zoom lens, I mean a telephoto lens. Most of the time, if you say a zoom lens to someone, they'll kind of realize what you're talking about. It's a telephoto lens. So something that's going to be a longer focal length that you can really kind of zoom in super close on these subjects. But technically a zoom lens could also be like a 16 to 35 because it means you can zoom it. But this next part, I'm going to say zoom lens a lot. I'm really talking about telephoto lenses, so lenses for long distance subjects that you can zoom in on. So just a little side point there, and enjoy the rest of the video. Hear me out, you don't have to be a wildlife photographer to use a zoom lens. Zoom lenses are great for tons of different scenarios, things like obviously wildlife, sports, concerts, portraits. If you get far enough and you take a nice portrait with a zoom lens, the compression on it is incredible. Definitely an awesome thing to have is a zoom lens. A zoom lens also really just allows you to reach kind of different photos, a different level of photography that you're not able to reach with some of the other lenses. So you can really get different compositions, different types of photos that you just kind of similar to a wide angle, just the opposite way is you just wouldn't have access to get such a large area. In this case, you wouldn't have access to get such a zoomed in subject, such a focus on a certain subject without a zoom lens. Again, there's a ton of super expensive options out there, but you don't have to splurge. I mean, one of a lot of people's dream lenses is the 70 to 200 f2.8. That's like the holy grail of Canon zoom lenses. I have the 70 to 200 f4. This is the older one for the DSLRs, but I have an adapter, works perfectly on my mirrorless. There's no issues. I made another video completely about that adapter right here, so definitely check that out. But 70 to 200 f4, great lens. If you're on even more of a budget, something like the 55 to 250 is a great lens. You're not gonna get the same quality as if you're spending $5,000 or whatever, but something like this is a great intro lens. It's a great beginner's lens to get used to a zoom lens, to see what you like. Maybe you buy this, you use it for a year and you go, you know what, I don't use this zoom lens at all. That's fine, that's totally normal. But you didn't spend $5,000 on a zoom lens. This is a great intro lens to kind of see what you like or what you don't like, and then find the lens that's kind of best for you. So definitely a ton of different options out there for whatever budget you have, you can find a zoom lens. Also, I'm naming Canon products again, whether you shoot Fujifilm or you shoot Sony, whatever it is, there's similar lenses out there. But there's also third-party lenses, so Tamron and Sigma, things like that. You can buy third-party lenses, again, that are gonna be cheaper than a Canon lens or a Sony lens. And they're great glass. Honestly, they're really, really good. So check those out. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on lenses. I mean, unless you're a pro and you're gonna be using these lenses for crazy, crazy expensive shoots and you're gonna make your money back, I mean, obviously go ahead, you're a pro, you know what you're doing. But if you're a beginner, you don't need to spend a lot of money on lenses. You can build a really good 3-lens setup on a great budget. So with that being said, I personally think having a wide angle, a nice down the middle prime lens, and a zoom lens, it is a really, really solid 3-lens setup that you can carry pretty much in any bag. You can have all 3 of your lenses, no matter where you're going. You don't need 15 lenses. You don't need this entire super expensive setup. You got 3 really solid lenses. From there, you'll figure out what type of photography you do most. If you're only doing wildlife and sports photography, scrap the wide angle. Still think it's good to have a wide angle in the bag, but it depends on what type of photography you're doing. But if you're still kind of figuring that out, or if you're kind of a bit everywhere like I am, I do a lot of wildlife, but I also do a lot of astrophotography and landscapes, and I do some portraits with my prime lens. If you're kind of that everyday all-around photographer, this is the perfect 3-lens setup. That's all you need. So thanks so much for watching this video. Check out my photography on my Instagram @thesneakylens, and check out my other videos for a ton of awesome tips for beginner photographers. Hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.